meeting to order for July 11th, 2023. Roll call. Guzikowski here.
Zarnecki here.
Sigali here.
All righty. Approval of minutes from 6/13/2023. Any comments or questions? Nothing?
Sigali moves to approve the minutes of June 13th, 2023.
Roll call. Guzikowski abstain.
Zarnecki present.
Sigali, aye.
I was not at the meeting. All righty, number 5, consider a motion to approve a purchase of the electronic poll book, Badger books from Paragon Development Services in the amount of $57,730.65. Catherine? Mm-hmm.
voter number. We correlate that to a, thank you, now it's working. We get that to a poll book, and in that poll book, we assign the voter number in the poll book. So rather than using the paper copy of the poll book as central count, much like the voting locations, we will be entering those into our tablet as well. So we'll be assigning numbers electronically along with our polling location. So it does, we will keep paper backups for the unforeseen future in case of a power outage, and if we needed to at a voting location, we will still have those paper supplies, but much more condensed. We won't have half as much printing involved, but we'll have that as a backup. So then if there is any type of power outage, we can switch to a manual process if need be.
Do other communities use the same system that we do?
We do. So this is the system that the Wisconsin Election Commission has certified and has approved for use in the state of Wisconsin. And anyone who is using electronic poll books is working through the same provider.
Is this a one-time expense or is this kind of an annual expense for this platform?
So we will pay, so it's one-time expense, however. We will pay an annual warranty and maintenance agreement, and then should it be necessary, should one at some point, I'm sure there's a life like any technology that we'll have to purchase. The wider the rollout and implementation of this throughout the state, it's anticipated that the costs will at some point become, you know, a little bit more reasonable. But at this point, it's a one-time purchase. I expect that once I meet with the vendor and we start to look at the actual equipment, I'll have a little bit better idea. I also intend on working with other municipality clerks to get best practices and you know, what they have found with the equipment. So I'll probably have a better idea once that occurs. But no one has been on these, the new poll books or the new system for, I would say, longer than 5 years would be, you know, a beta test period. So at this point, I'm not quite sure if we have that answer.
Speed up the process for voters.
We would hope so. Typically, the larger elections, when we have a turnout, in the city of Oak Creek, our turnout tends to be a higher percentage than the state or the city of Madison, where we have a really high turnout here, which is fantastic. That's what we want to see. We want to see our, you know, enabling as many voters who are able to vote. So during those really busy elections, we will do somewhere between 25 and 30% in early voting. So 25 to 30% of our voters in the municipality have already voted either in person or by mail on those really large elections. That number is decreasing yearly, but just slightly, which leaves about 70% of our voters to go out to the polls. We never have 100% turnout, but it could be 60%. So already through that process, we've made the voters' experience a little bit quicker, that they're not waiting in as long of lines. But there will still be lines when you have a 60% turnout or 70% turnout at the polls. But yes, we're hoping that this expedites, and the one process that it really will, voters will really notice a difference in voter registrations. It's a very manual process right now. In the state of Wisconsin, you are allowed to do election day registration, same day as election day at the polls. And that's a very manual process. With this new process, they'll be able to do it right on the same tablet, kind of roll through all that information. And for our clerk staff, for my deputy clerk and staff, it will decrease all of the data entry that we have to do for voter registration post-election. Currently, in a large election, we can do 4,000, 5,000 in the real transient districts, voter registrations on election day, and the data entry for that takes weeks post-election. With the new poll books, it takes all of that data entry away, and it doesn't let you miss anything. So as they go through, if they forget to check the box, are you 18 years of age or older, realistically, a poll worker could miss that box was missed. in this system, it won't let you pass to the next step unless you've checked that box. So yeah, we're hoping that there will be some streamlining to some of the processes.
So this handle, just to clarify, this handles both a person coming in and assigning, and it handles new registrations.
Correct?
Okay.
I know, it's very nice. And the other thing that it does is it automatically assigns a voter number in the correct ward. So our 6 locations are split by ward now, post our last census. So if it's Ward 1, 2, 3, when they come in and they sign the poll book, it prints off a number that says Ward 1 or Ward 2. They take it over, get the proper ballot, and vote. So it's not such a manual process with the voter numbers that if you fat finger a number, which happens on occasion, they're not getting 2 numbers or something, it takes away the error in that as well. So we're looking forward to that.
Are there any IT services that you'll need? Have you talked to IT? Just because you usually handle, you and Krista handle everything related to the poll boxes. I'm just wondering if there's any additional duties there.
No, I don't believe so. I think that, we will share the contract with them, and if they have any concerns, they'll look as well. But again, the work before and after election that involves anything connected would be downloading all that information to that server. So we have all our voters on election day at that place. And then afterwards, we're going to need to merge that information back up after the election. And that is something that is done completely in WisVote and in our system. So that wouldn't require IT help. And as far as the hardware itself, we have the contract and the maintenance contract with the provider. So I don't anticipate requiring any type of resources or staffing or hours from our department.
Are these physical, so does each district or ward, do they get physical tablets or whatnot? So do you need to order any extra in case something goes down or to account for one malfunctioning for game day?
Yeah, so what I think I've requested is 3 books and 1 server per location. And what the recommendation is 700 to 800 users or voters per book. Well, at our location, we have each ward is about 1,100, 1,200. So 3.5 would be, plenty and very adequate, but we are at 4 per location, kind of anticipating that 1 might be used in a capacity of a voter registration station. We'll see how that goes. That's one of those user tips and tricks that we need to learn.
Yeah.
But no, we have 4 for each location, which is more than adequate for our amount of voters.
Good, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I have no further questions. Motion?
Seifert moves to approve the purchase of electronic poll books from Paragon Development Services in the amount of $57,730.65.
Marshall will second.
Roll call.
Marshall, aye.
Guzikowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Aye.
Thank you for your time.
Chris, before you move on, I just wanted to move up to item 4, which you skipped over.
Did I?
Yeah, the
Sorry about
informational.
that.
No, that's fine. Engineering just wanted to make the board here aware that the Common Council approved 3 contracts, 2 of them for inspection services for the summer and then into next year, 2024, and also stormwater services that we consulted with. R.A. Smith will be handling the stormwater and one of the construction inspection, and the other one was M Squared. So we requested these services because of our decline in staff. We're down to 50% out of engineering, and our workload has probably doubled at this point. We've been unable to fill the position of our stormwater engineer for the past 6 months, 7 months now. Very little response when we advertise, if any. And then we had 1 resignation and then 1 termination for our engineering tech. So we're down significant staff. We do have advertisements out, but we're not really seeing much response at this point. So in order to keep things moving in the city, we requested those contracts, and they were awarded last meeting.
Thank you for letting us know. Any other informational? Alrighty, number 6. Consider a motion to approve progress payments number 2 to Susan Dry Water. Is that you, Brian?
Yes, that'd be me. So we're just paying some bills here. The progress payment for Susan Drive Water Main Extension. The project is essentially complete. They have punch list items to complete and some lawn restoration to complete yet. This is another road that with the city paving program, we'll come back and I'll mill and overlay the pavement section. But for the water main, everything is in service. We did install a new type fitting out there, so we got the contractor to install it for us. It was supplied by one of the supply companies. It is a plastic fitting. It's called a Mega-Type fitting. So just kind of an experimental, see how we like these. We're seeing what it shows. If you can't get brass fittings, there's been some delays in getting some brass parts. So this is an option that we have, and we're the first in the state to install one. So we'll see how it works.
Okay.
Installation went fairly smoothly. But for the payment, we're looking at $1,777, $329.70.
Questions or comments?
Yeah, Brian, does this complete the project on Susan?
This is not the final payment on
Okay.
Susan. The project is done, but this is not the final payment until they get all the punch list items complete and all the lawn restoration done, and then we'll close out the project.
Okay, thank you.
Motion?
Zarnecki will make a motion to approve progress payment number 2 for the Susan Drive Water Relay Project to Globe Contractors in the amount of $177,329.70.
Marshall will second.
Roll call.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Galli, aye.
Number 7, consider a motion to approve progress payment number 3 for the Howell Avenue Water Relay Project to A.W. Oaks and Sons for the amount of $450,161.44. Project number 21101.
So another progress payment on Howell Avenue. This is our third payment to them. Project is moving right along. They're currently working at the intersection of Groveland on the south end. So this will be the kind of the tail end of the installation work. Once they get this work completed, they'll have about 8 more laterals to complete. Everything from about 400 feet north of Groveland up to Chase Bank is in service. So they're moving right along. Guessing by the end of the month, we'll be shifting traffic over and they'll start working on abandoning the old main.
Okay.
This is a payment of $456,161.44.
Any questions or comments?
No.
Motion?
Marshall will move to approve progress payment number 3 for Howell Avenue Water Relay Project to A.W. Oaks and Sons in the amount of $456,161.44, project number 21101.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Galli, aye.
Alrighty, number 8, consider a motion to approve utility vouchers for payment in the amount of $1,331,277.18. Who's anyone? This is Brian? Pretty straightforward. stuff?
Straightforward.
Yeah, okay.
Any questions?
Any questions? Then motion.
Zarnecki will make a motion to approve utility vouchers for payment in the amount of $1,331,277.18.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call.
Marshall, I.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Galli, aye.
Alrighty. Number 9, consider a motion to authorize utility engineer to amend the existing professional services agreement with Jacobs in the amount not to exceed $104,000. Is this you, Brian?
This is me. So this is a extension of our existing general services contract with Jacobs. We started the general services contract in 2012. They've done a lot of work for us on the SCADA system and at the plant. It's kind of a on-call as needed contract that we have with them. This amount is for the PLC replacement project that we're currently working on for the last 2 years that we've been working on. First, it was getting the pieces and parts that we weren't able to get the electronics. That took a year and a half to get those. Now we're dealing with the contractor, and there's some struggles with getting the drawings completed for the PLC cabinets. So trying to keep the project moving and on pace so that we can get it done this summer and then be able to complete the last 7 PLC cabinets this fall once demand starts decreasing. We're having Jacobs do the drawings to get to the contractor because the contractor's been struggling to get those drawings done. Get that done so we're ready to go this fall. This will also add the amount in there for Jacobs to do all the programming of the PLCs and taking care of some odds and ends at the plant. So basically the 104 is for the PLC project that we have going on.
Who's the contractor that's not finishing the drawings?
Next Electric. They were the sole bidder on the project. And the good news is they were about $220,000 under our estimate for the project. And we believe we know why.
Yeah.
So is there anything we're doing with them to offset this cost?
No. And it's a spec issue that we have. It is not typical for a rebuild like this or a reconstruction of the PLC cabinets to have to create all of the AutoCAD drawings up front. They did not budget for that. The specs do call it out. But it's one of those, it's in one spot over here and it's not over here. So they're arguing against it, that we don't have to do this. And it's more of a struggle. We want to get this done. And because of the timing that we have to get it done, when the plant's not in full production during the summer, we're moving this route to get the drawings done and keep the thing moving forward.
Thank you.
Do you anticipate any liquidated damages or their ability to bid on future work that will be impacted by this contract?
We have had those discussions. I don't know where that'll end up come the end of the project.
How far under were they?
220,000.
Oh, that's how, okay, I'm sorry. You did say that.
Yeah, questions or comments? Motion?
Seifert moves to authorize the utility engineer to amend the existing professional service agreement with Jacobs in the amount not to exceed $104,000.
Marshall, second.
Roll call.
Marshall, I.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Galli, aye.
Number 10, administrative and operation reports. Any questions on them? Anybody? Right?
Just to point out on the distribution report that our distribution operators, Ryan Mon, competed in the Meter Madness at the ACE conference in Toronto last month, and Mark Prober and Paul Craig competed in the Hydrant Hysteria at the conference as well. So they were representing Wisconsin in the national event.
Nice.
Brian, question.
Yes.
Our pumpage has really increased over this past month, roughly 12%. Reason?
Hot,
Dry.
dry. That's the reason. It's hot and dry. A lot of people watering.
Okay,
and that's the vast majority of it has increased water production. And hopefully we continue to see that.
Any other questions for the administrative or operations reports, you guys? Nothing? And that's it, huh? Adjournment? Or nothing?
Kigali moves to adjourn.
Guzekowski. Oops.
do we have anything from the engineering department? Update?
I mean, out of the city hall, whatever's provided in the packet, our projects continue to move forward. At this point, we're safe routes to school. That's actually under construction in different locations. Cedar Hills, Shepherd Hills. We'll be moving on to Edgewood areas to do crosswalk enhancements, things of that nature under our Safe Routes to School program. All the developments that you see throughout the city, they're just moving forward as typical. Heyday, which is a development just west of I-94 and north or south of Pewitz, that open area will be going into a construction meeting shortly. So that project should be starting within probably the next month, I would imagine. Lakeshore Commons continues to develop. Townhomes were approved by the council or plan commission. I'm not sure if it's council, it's plan commission for site development. Those would be up on the north end of the project and apartments on the south end. So there'll be some new ones coming through along with the clubhouse. That should all be starting within the next few months here. They're getting approvals through the state at this point. The lakefront revetment and stabilization project, that's moving along pretty smoothly right now. If you ever get a chance, you can just go by that lighthouse, the beacon, whatever you want to call it, on Lakeshore or Lake Vista. You can look over and you can actually kind of see the progress from there. We do have pictures and things of that nature that we can also provide. The VAT house will actually be going under demolition in August, beginning of August. They're going to do the removal of asbestos this month, starting this month. So we're moving through that process over on Peter Cooper. Road projects are actually going to be, they should be underway at this point too. So we just kind of keep moving along, and that's what we have. Really nothing to report as far as staffing. We're at about 50% right now for engineering.
I have a question about the portable stop signs that they have on Groveland, which is just across to from the football field. They're only about 4 feet high, and people really don't see them. And there is a problem, people not stopping at that stop sign and just driving right through that intersection of Verdev and Groveland.
Okay, I'll have to go actually be on site for that. I've been out of town for probably the last week in Florida, so I'll visit that. But that should be that's not acceptable.
And they're only about 3 feet high, and the people kind of miss them as they're driving up to the corner, and they just go right straight through.
I would imagine if those were knocked down and being replaced, that would be under the DPW.
It's
so
on
we'll be in
both
touch.
sides of the street,
Yep,
both
we'll-
east and west.
We'll be in touch with DPW then. If it's a knockdown and it's replacement,
Okay.
that would have to be DPW.
But
Is-
just
what is it?
saying,
Okay.
the last few days I've walked in the area, and I've seen a number of cars just drive right through that intersection.
Yeah, we'll look into it and get it corrected.
Okay, thank you.
I guess just with your staffing challenges, is the city looking at any compensation evaluation to see if that's what's causing the lack of applications, lack of interest, or how do you see trying to get your way out of this? I know everyone's dealing with the same thing in the public sector, but
Yes, I know that the administration has been looking at the compensation studies. That's probably part of the strategic action plan that has been approved, and they're moving through that right now. I'm not sure when that portion of it will be completed. We're also looking at how we can maybe, kind of reorganize our job descriptions and things along those lines. But I do, I am aware of a few of the reasons why we're running into shortages, and that is definitely benefits and pay. So everyone's aware of those. It's been out there for years. Hopefully we can address that, and maybe we'll I guess at this point we're just trying to bridge that with our contracts right now, and then try to reorganize and find a different way to make it more appealing.
Working.
Any other questions or comments? Motion to adjourn?
Sgali will move to adjourn.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call.
Marshall, I.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnacki, aye?
Seifert, aye.
Sgali, aye.
Thank you, everybody.